Hi and welcome to the Kind Community Sustainability Podcast. I'm your host, Gian Avelli, and on the show we uncover the stories, tactics and skills of people doing great things for the planet and turn their experiences into practical advice that you can use to impact your own life and those around you.
Our primary aim is to make the sustainable attainable through education, transparency and collaboration. Plastics and toxins from cleaning products are polluting Earth's waterways. The social consequences of long-term unemployment, particularly on marginalised groups, is having adverse effects on the quality of later life. Now, there's an answer to both. Bide is your natural, people-driven choice for cleaning products. Their handmade utensils and cleaning products are built with heart and purpose for and by the community from their own homes. Through their unique crossover of production and empowerment, they are creating opportunities for people to earn a secure living, all while doing good for the planet. Here with us today is Amelia Gammon, founder of the socially conscious Bide and supporter of the planet and its people. Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How about you?
Very good. I love that introduction. I think that you should come and work for Bide. That was beautiful.
My pleasure. It's the least I could do. I mean, you need that introduction, honestly, it's well deserved.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a bit more about your personal relationship with sustainability and social impact? What first drew you to climate issues? And when did you decide to make solving these problems your career?
Yeah, absolutely. So ever since I was a little kid, I've always been completely fascinated by nature. I grew up in the countryside and I would be that child lying on her tummy, staring into badger holes, waiting for them to appear and count them. I think I was about maybe 8 or 9 when I started putting on demonstrations to stop people sending dogs down badger holes. So I've always been really interested since a very young age. And then as I got older, I seemed to forget about it. And I just focused selfishly on my own career and kind of my 20s and thinking about the things that mattered to me. And as I started to get a little bit more grown up and I started having a family, I came back to that care for nature and the planet. And I could see that the destruction that we have been committing as a human race was just growing at a rate that was terrifying. And I knew that I had to do something. And so I I actually lost my job at the beginning of COVID, but I quit my 20-year career in film and TV to completely pivot and only focus on my sustainability venture. In my personal life, my sustainable journey went from me trying to reduce plastic in my home to us actually leaving London to set up home in rural Wiltshire, where we've converted our home into an eco home. So we run off of air source and solar. We grow our own food. We're virtually plastic free, only buy secondhand clothing and toys. And so it was also that personal journey and sustainability that made me realize how hard it is for people en masse to adopt more sustainable lifestyles. So that also kind of gave me the impetus to start Bide.
So thank you so much for that. So when did the actual idea come to you and how long did it take to take it from the idea to where you are today?
Yeah, so it actually came to me 2.5 years ago. I was doing some consultancy work for a production company, and I went into their boardroom in LA and pitched them this idea. And as I was pitching it to them, their responses were very, very positive, but they were saying things like, oh, this could really help us sell a show, or wouldn't this be good as a documentary? And these alarm bells were like dinging off in my head. And I was thinking, okay, I have to stop. I can't use this for the purpose of something else. I need to actually make this happen myself. So 2.5 years ago, that was the kind of the aha moment. And then the company was founded in March of last year. So it took another kind of 1.5 years for me to sort out everything in my head and actually to build up the confidence to go for it.
So can you talk us a bit more about how you train members of the community to develop your products and what's been perhaps some of the main challenges of operating in this, decentralized manner?
Yeah, so just to clarify, our eco-cleaning products, instead of being made in factories, we're bringing the factories into people's homes, which is our way of addressing rocketing unemployment, which has been expedited by COVID. So we're working with employment charities to help identify the unemployed and marginalised people that most need our support. So, for example, we've recently partnered with Working Chance, which is the UK's only employment charity for women with convictions. When we work with a partnership like that, they identify their clients that are interested in joining our home manufacturing network. And then we provide them with remote training, which is a combination of video recordings, written materials, and we also get on the phone to each of them and teach them how to make our cleaning products. We also supply them with all the toxin-free, vegan, natural ingredients to make our products and all of our packaging. And so they have, it's a very gentle process of us teaching them how to make everything and how to package it. And then once their goods are finished, we collect them and put them in our boxes and sell them to our end customers.
Could you perhaps tell us a few of the challenges that you've happened along the journey?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is that when you are operating a company that's so labour intensive, there is a lot of man hours associated with communicating with everybody and making sure that they feel comfortable in the process. But what we found is actually, because we care so deeply about the planet and the people that inhabit it, and that ethos is being kind of being absorbed by our home manufacturing network, because we're getting these incredible kind of pieces of feedback from them saying, have you tried this, or have you tried this? And it's really lovely to see that it's kind of growing. So although there's a lot of communication and we're having to spend a lot of time getting people into the system, once they're in the system, they seem to live and breathe our ethos, and it's really beautiful to see.
Amazing. And so how have you seen consumer behavior change over the course of the pandemic? And how has the pandemic affected the way you work and communicate with those you support?
Yeah, it's really interesting because there's been two distinct movements that we've seen. So one is incredibly positive. People have been more supportive of local business, and everything that we do is local. So our end vision is to bring production to within 20 miles of consumption, which means that our home manufacturers will be making the products that their neighbours end up buying. So that's been wonderful. So that trend towards supporting local business, we've been a wonderful recipient of that, and it's been fantastic. On the other side, I think anything to do with cleaning has had a really hard task this year, because COVID has obviously and understandably scared a lot of people. And so when they think about cleaning, everyone's gone into hyper mode. And unfortunately, the history of cleaning has meant that people expect the most effective cleaning products to be the ones that have the most chemicals in it. So what we've seen is we have to do a lot more education work with our customers to say, actually, these do clean and they do help create, protection for your family. They don't have to have bleach in them. They don't have to have some of these other chemicals. So that's been an interesting challenge in the last 12 months.
So educating the end consumer on like the impact that these chemicals have, and that the fact also that natural ingredients can actually do the job.
Exactly. Yeah.
And what has been the greatest challenge when targeting the intersectionality of social welfare and sustainability? Has this given rise to any unique insights into communities you support?
Yeah, I think it has. So one of the things that's really surprised me is how little infrastructure and support there is for people who genuinely want to work, to get work. Unfortunately, the media loves being able to talk about people who don't actually want to work and, benefiting from the benefit system. And our work is really showcased that people genuinely do want to get into work, and it's very hard to get into that system. And specifically at the moment, all of our home manufacturers are women, and they're all actually also single mothers. And the way that our home manufacturing system works, it enables them to make these products whenever they want. It doesn't matter if they make them in the middle of the night or the weekend. It makes no difference to us as long as they produce the products. And I think it's that kind of flexibility that's allowed them to be able to work in a way that they wouldn't have been previously. So that massive delta between an interest in work and not being able to get onto the system is something that has really, really surprised me. I think the other thing is that we've seen that there's kind of two camps in our customers. There are those that really believe in the social enterprise of what we're doing, and there are those that really support our environmental efforts because everything in our box is plastic free. And I don't always see the relationship between the two in the customers. They either come in for one reason or the other, and I think that's been quite an interesting observation.
Okay, so what would you say has been, or what do you think has been the biggest impact when it comes to tackling issues such as plastic pollution and social issues? Who do you think has the biggest impact? Do you think it's the transformers, i.e. the existing bigger corporates, or the innovators, people such as yourself, the entrepreneurs, startups?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that it's a combination of everybody coming in it for all angles. So there is the corporations, there are the entrepreneurs like me. There's also the consumer that's driving the type of business innovation that we're coming up with. Consumer demand is a great way for us to be able to prove market fit, but also it has to be at policy making level. You know, you can have corporates making a change, but unless governments are forcing them to do so or providing kind of additional taxation against non-environmentally sound practices, we're not going to have the step change that we all would love to see.
What would you like other companies to learn from Bide?
Well, there's a very specific in relation to working charts. I'd love other companies to learn that everybody deserves a second chance and that there is an incredible workforce out there. And if people could put their prejudice to one side, then, you know, that could be a wonderful asset for them. I think the other is that people often decide if they're going to be a social enterprise or environmentally minded company. And we're demonstrating that it's possible to be both equally. And I would challenge other businesses to not only look at their environmental impact, but also ways that they can have a more active role in their local communities.
Amelia, what are you most hopeful for?
World peace. What I'm most hopeful for is that there is going to be more innovation like we're demonstrating, interesting people coming up with new ideas to challenge the status quo, because we're not going to have a meaningful impact on climate action unless we come up with groundbreaking new thoughts on things. And in order to support that, what I'd really hope for is that the investment community become more bullish about identifying impact investment. There's still such a small proportion of investment going into impact causes, and so I'd love to see that change.
So can you tell us a bit more about what's next for you and for Bide?
Well, we've got our crowdfunding campaign that's live at the moment, which is helping to support our collaboration with Working Chance. And we're about halfway through. We've got 30 days left. So concluding that campaign with a stellar result is what's coming up immediately. And then for next for Bide, it's expansion. So at the moment, we rely on third-party distribution services to get our boxes, the end mile, to our customers' doorsteps. But as we grow, we're going to be rolling out an electric fleet. So that's going to be the next move for us in helping sure that our environmental impact is minimized as much as possible.
And I want to just congratulate you on reaching 50% of your target in such a short amount of time. It goes to show such amazing work that you're doing. I, for one, will be backing the project. I tried doing it on my phone earlier while I was out walking the dog, but I'm going to leave it to doing it on the desktop.
Thank you.
Could you tell us actually where to find the crowdfunding campaign, please?
Yeah, we're on Indiegogo. So if you look up Bide Boxes, the link is also bit.ly/BidePlanet. But yeah, if you just search for Bide on Indiegogo, you'll find us there.
Amazing. So thank you so much for your interview and your time today, Amelia. Now's time for the quick fire round.
Okay.
So everyone loves this bit. So how do you define sustainability?
I would say that sustainability is the act of thinking before acting, for identifying the impact of everything that you do on the planet and the people around you.
I love that one. So what would you say is your best business book you've read?
Do you know, this is a surprising one, and I don't think you'll expect this answer, but I don't know if you've read Invisible Women by Caroline Perez. It's
I haven't.
essentially, oh, it's incredible. So it's talking about how all of the data that's informed any type of innovation or transport system has all been generated from data on men and their activity. And it's talking about how women have been invisible from it. And the reason why I would suggest that as a business book, it's not a business book that tells you how to run a business, but it's a really good reminder that when you're thinking of building a business, you need to really take a moment to understand if the data you're using is your bias or the data of the real world. So that's why I recommend that book.
Yeah, and about being more inclusive in your thinking
Yeah,
going forward, right?
yeah.
Amelia, what's your sustainable hack?
My sustainable hack would be jam jars.
Great one.
Jam jars for everything. Jam
Yeah,
jars for storing things in the fridge. Jam jars for collecting your milk bottle caps so that you can put them in a foil ball that can be readily recycled. Jam jars for planting seedlings. I mean, jam jars, I think, are my godsend when it comes to sustainability.
yeah. I have too many to know what to do with them just yet. So if anyone wants to reach out to me, I've got a few spare in the London area. But they're great hack. What other sustainable product would you urge others to buy?
That is a really good question, because normally my answer would be don't buy anything unless you absolutely have to. So my journey to sustainability was focused first on reducing consumption. So the only things I would ever advise people buying that are sustainable are things that you actually need, like food or cleaning products, for example. So I'd like to flip that answer and say, don't buy.
Good one. I love that. Thank you so much, Amelia. Please, can you tell us where we can discover more about yourself, more about Bide, and how to connect with you?
Yeah, sure. So probably the best place to go would be to go to our website, which is buyboxes.com. But you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at BuyPlanet.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Amelia, for today. Really appreciate it. Good luck on the rest of your crowdfunding campaign,
Thank
and
you.
see you very soon. Bye for now.
Thank you so much. Bye.
If you're inspired by my conversation with Amelia, please remember to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with anyone that you think would love to join our community. If today has chimed well with you, then Bide has an active crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo. Essentially go to Indiegogo and search Bide. That's BIDE, where you can support them from just £20, and you'll get a box of incredible natural cleaning products. Remember to live what you listen and to put action from what you've learned, because knowledge isn't power, it's potential power. It must be used to be powerful. Together, we can make the sustainable attainable. I'm Gianovelli, and this is a Kind Community Show. show.